Hello and welcome to MexicanPanda Plays Magic the Gathering, Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012. Magic the Gathering, for those of you who don't know, it's a strategy card game where you're supposed to beat your opponent using different cards by making his life total equal 0 or making him run out of cards. I have played through the campaign mode before to unlock all of the available decks because at the beginning you only have this basic red deck and this basic green deck, and neither of which I like. I do like blue, so we'll go with blue. And we'll see what happens. I'm about to face off against Koth, who is the first opponent in the campaign. I'll show you guys the campaign paths in a bit. They're in a grid sort of thing. So yeah, let's see. I'll explain the basics for you, for those of you who don't really know Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is played using cards. Cards have their name over here, Phantasmal Bear. The amount of mana it costs to cast it, which I'll explain in a second. The type of card it is, creature, and then the type, I suppose, or well, we'll just say type of creature it is. So for example, this is a bear and an illusion. Down here we have the effect of the card, which is when Phantasmal Bear becomes the target of a spell or ability, you sacrifice it. That's a pretty bad effect because any effect I want to use on it or my opponent uses on it makes me have to get rid of it. Down here we have the power or attack of the card and the toughness or defense. So overall, for a creature that costs only 1 mana to cast, I believe that's pretty good. And yeah, I guess I'll explain. Over here we have the life total of the enemy, which is 20. The amount of cards on his hand, that is 7, and the amount of cards left in his deck, which is 53. I have right here the phase of which we're in, which is, the phases are just, I guess, which point of the game we're on. So we're in the starting phase, which is just setting everything up. And yeah, at the beginning of the game, you're supposed to draw 7 cards. As you can see, I have 7 cards right here. And if you like those cards, you can keep them, as it says down here. But if you don't like what you get, you can draw a new hand by giving up 1 card that you could have potentially started with. So what I'm trying to say is that if I didn't like this hand, I could draw a new hand, but then instead of starting with 7 cards, I'll start with 6, and then 5, and 4, and so on, until you only have 1 card, which you have to keep. Well, my statistics now are down here, 20 life, 53 cards in the deck, 7 in the hand. I do like the cards I got because I have 3 lands. Oh yeah, lands. Lands, basic lands, as it says right here, are your main energy source of sorts. In Magic it's called mana, but it's just energy really. I mean, it's what powers up your cards, what lets you cast them, and all that sort of stuff. This one, well, it doesn't have any effect, but it has 1 big water drop, and it just means that if I tap it, I get 1 mana to use for that turn. If I don't use that mana, it just disappears, it doesn't come back, but the island stays there, so I can reuse it turn after turn. So that's the good stuff about land. Hands down, the best card in the game has to be land because it's so convenient. I mean, you can't have the game without it. Anyway. Yeah, as I was saying, I do like the hand, so I'll keep it. And let's see what Koth is gonna do, since he starts before me. So he casts down a land, and that's all he can do. Luckily, this game highlights whatever possible cards you can cast from your hand. So, see, since this costs land and I have no land down, I can't do anything else but cast a land. But now I can cast a bear. Bears are pretty cool. I mean, I am Mexican Panda. I gotta like bears. Another thing about Magic the Gathering and the general rules of it is that you can only cast 1 land per turn. So it just limits how much you can do really, but it's pretty good because, for example, if I cast 3 lands, I could get a pretty big creature right off the bat, and I mean, that's not really fair to anybody. And we'll go ahead and end our turn here. Oh, when cards go down, or come down for the first time rather, as you can see there's this swirling thing here. It just means that it has something called Summoning Sickness, which doesn't let you use that card's effect or attack with it until the next turn. As you can see, the swirlies are gone, and now we can see the awesome artwork. One of the things I really like about Magic is how much effort people put into the art. The artists are down here, so Ryan Yee, props to you, guy. Now let's see, play another island, and we'll do another bear because they're cheap and effective. I mean, 2 attack, 2 damage. Generally, things that cost only one land to cast are either 1 attack and 1 toughness, or 0 attack and 1 toughness, and you know, they're not good to attack with, but the bears are, surprisingly. And I do have to. Now you can see I'm trying to attack, and the screen turns all red because it's intense moments of the game. Anyway, when you try to attack, if he has another creature, he can try to block you, in which the attack and defense of the creatures come into play. Creatures with higher attack than the enemy's defense end up destroying the enemy, and vice versa. As you can see, I did 2 damage, he's down to 18, and we got this, guys. I don't see him coming back from this. I mean, look at the tremendous amount of damage I did. Can't possibly go wrong. Which is a lie. I mean, in Magic, you generally have a lot of possible effects which affect the outcome of the battles tremendously. Let's explain this card. We got Koth's Courier, Creature, Human Rogue, awesome artwork, Forest Walk. Forest Walk means that if I was to have a forest, and I don't, I only have islands, he would be able to attack my life directly without me being able to block it, because it just walks through the forest, I guess. That's a way to put it. So we'll cast another land. And what did we get? Return target creature to its owner's hand and draw a card for 3 mana. Oh, I should explain this about spells. They have different types of spells. For example, this one's an instant. There's also enchantments and sorceries, and all of that just means the speed at which you can cast them. And by speed I mean at which point of the game you can cast it, and in response to what. So for example, this one being an instant means that I can cast it at any point of the game. It doesn't have to be my turn, it doesn't have to be in my main phase, which is when you're generally allowed to cast all that sort of stuff, and I can cast it at any time except when battle is already occurring. So like right here. Oh, I missed out on it because the interface is pretty bad. I don't like it. So now these two are gonna fight, and he's gonna beat my bear, but I could have potentially prevented that from happening by returning his monster to his hand. Well, he did do 2 more damage, so that's pretty good. And again, I am at life advantage, not creature anymore. He will try to combat me. Oh, he will not. I guess he sees that. He will leave himself open. Because, this is another important part of the game, if you attack with a creature, they become tapped, which just means that you can't defend or use their abilities until the next turn when they become untapped. So you gotta keep that in mind a lot of the time, because certain creatures, I mean, they're really good to attack with, but then you leave yourself open. Like, if I was to attack right now, well, first of all, he could try to block me, but not only that, he would also be left with a creature that can attack me directly without me being able to block it, and we don't want that generally. Let's see, we will cast this guy. He's a 2/3, and no effect, but 2/3 is okay for right now, because I need something to block with. And yeah, I mean, I still got advantage of life and monster now, so we won't attack this turn because he will just try to block me, and it's not gonna get anywhere. It's just gonna get my bear killed, and come on, we can't kill the bear. You gotta save the bears. That's what you do in life. Let's see, combat, main. Alright, he's casting something. Earth Elemental, pretty big amount of mana to use to bring him down. I mean, has to be 5, and 2 of which have to be red. He has no effect, luckily, but he is a 4 attack, 5 toughness creature, so that's pretty big. But I'm sure I have something to go around that. In fact, I just thought of something. But anyway, let's see, we got Krovikan Mist. It is a creature illusion, flying. Flying It's an effect on the creature, which means that if he attacks, only other creatures with flying or creatures that have an ability called Reach can block it. Other than that, they don't really affect too much of the gameplay, just that. The effect though, Kravikan Miss, Power, and Toughness are each equal to the number of illusions on the field. I do believe this deck has nothing but illusions, really. That's an illusion, and another illusion. So, considering himself an illusion as well, when we cast it, his Power and Toughness will be 3 and 3. Yeah, when you see creatures with little stars on here, it just kind of means that their Power and Toughness is affected by their own effect or other effects, but generally just their own. So we'll cast that guy, and we'll also cast this one to make both of them 4/4. These are static effects, and static effects are always present no matter what. And as you can see, this one does increase or decrease based on how many illusions are on the field. But let's do this. I got an option to attack, which I will not, because I have to be able to defend. We will continue. Hopefully he tries to attack me with all his cards, which will leave him right open for me to cast another thing. Oh, that's not looking good. That card increases his attack by each mountain he has, so he has 5 mountains. It gives his, or 6 mountains? 6 mountains. So it increases his creature's attack by 6, which is pretty annoying. Also, if I could get this, there we go. It gives it first strike, which means that if I try to block, he will be unaffected because he gets to do his 10 damage first before I do my, say, 2 damage. So that's annoying, but he will have to do that, and I will let it slide because I don't want to lose power. Now he's going with a little goblin. He only has Mountain Walk as an ability, and since I have no mountains, he can just attack me directly. Let's see, this costs 3 and I have 4, and this costs 1, and this costs 4. Let's go ahead and attack. Show you guys a little strategy here. See, the reason why I let all the damage go through is because now I can freely attack like that at 4. If I had tried to block, he would have destroyed one of my creatures, and this would have become 3 3s. So we'll attack for 4. Let's see how that goes if the slow interface hurries up. And another thing I like about this game is the particles they give to different types of attacks. Since these are wind-based creatures, you can see them blowing at the opponent's life, which I don't see as effective, but hey, who's caring at this point? It is his turn again, I mean. And he is in combat. Now, we will have to do something, which I've been saving this card, so what I am gonna do is return that creature back to his hand, preventing him from damaging me this turn. There it goes, and it sends the enchantment he had on him to the graveyard, because the enchantment has nowhere to go, since it can't be enchanted into any creature. And I drew another card. I drew yet another card, which is Wall of Air. It's a defender. Defender creatures cannot attack, they can only block, unless you put another effect on them, which turns them into an attacking creature, not a defending creature. Generally, defenders are low mana cost with big defenses, but pretty weak or no attack at all. We will cast it because I do believe... Oh, it's not an illusion, huh? I should have looked at that. Wall creatures are generally characterized by having the defender status, so that's the thing. See, I do believe I won at this point. I don't see him being able to do anything against this attack. So let's see. Let's go ahead and attack with everything just in case. Not the best of strategies, but it will have to do. He's not able to block. Oh, what is this? Fault Line deals X damage to each creature without flying and each player. So that puts me at a disadvantage because it will destroy these two things. but it also cleared out his field. And there we are anyway. I won, because he did 4 damage to himself. Well, I do believe I won. I mean, look at that. Winner. I mean, what did you expect? I am a Mexican Panda, after all. Let's see. Now, after you beat every... Well, not every year. After you beat one opponent, you unlock cards for the deck to use. So, I unlock Kraken's Eye, which costs 2 mana to cast. And whenever a player casts a blue spell, you may gain 1 life. Well, that's pretty useful, isn't it? Oh, right here we have the campaign mode path. As you can see, I've beaten all of these guys, and these are just little challenges which test your strategy skills, I guess. So I've done some of them take hours to try and figure out, but hey, I have a lot of time in my hands right now since I'm in college and I have a lot of days off because of that. Anyway, well, I guess next episode I will be facing off against either Garruk or Tezzeret. Let me know who you want me to face off against. Otherwise, I think I'll just go against Garruk, and afterwards I'll go against Tezzeret, just to keep on building the cards on my blue deck. So I had to beat Jace, who's all the way over here, to be able to unlock that deck, so that took a little bit of time. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.